morning sun shines on the gleaming hide of a muscular ranch horse. The aroma of bacon and coffee drifts from the wood cook stove at a cow camp. Silver spurs jingle as the men and women of the West get set for another day in the saddle. From the heart of Canada's finest ranching country, this is the Spirit of the West with rancher and horse trainer Hugh McLennan and his collection of music, poetry, and conversations with the folks who live and work with horses and cattle in the Spirit of the West.
I got a call from Curtis Anderson a while back, and he said the well-known rancher Peter Berg was dispersing his cow herd, and the sale proceeds from one of the bulls would go to Curtis's famous Courage Canada trail ride for brain injury awareness and research. Since that project started, over $215,000 has been raised for brain injury research and the Canadian Pro Rodeo Sports Medicine Team. The ride always takes place the last weekend in May. Now, Curtis suggested I call Peter and have him talk about the bull. And I called him, caught him in the truck hauling a load of cattle, and he said, "Oh, I'd rather you talk to my wife. I'll let her know you're calling." So I called Colleen, and she was surprised to hear from me, but she agreed to talk about this big change in their life.
We just started this process of thinking that way a good 2, maybe 3 years ago. And, the family around us would say, well, when he's going to start this downsizing, I still don't see any less numbers out here.
So that's coming up, and don't worry, I'll find a way to get Peter on today as well. And Baxter Black has the story about checking calves that have aggressive mothers and what can happen.
We escaped like paratroopers out the window, landed clear, but the cow just kept on driving because the truck was still in gear.
You gotta hear this one. And the Rangeland News has the latest on this fall's cattle market.
Dear prices, well, he's talking about an average price this year of almost
what? Well, you'll find out a little later today. And on the Urban Saddles and Western Wear horse training file, a listener wants to know how to keep from being run over by his horses when he carries a half a bale of hay out to them in the pasture. There's an old classic Western song that you may or may not have heard, and Peter Berg is probably hauling somewhere as you hear this, so I thought Corb Lund and Tim Huss would get things started right.
Yeah, breaker, this is Whiskey Jack rolling northbound through Montana. I got the Monada Pass, Butte and Dillon in my tail light. It's been double nickels most of the way. The rodeo's over and it's back to the grader first thing Monday morning.
A dually diesel pulling hard with a horse trailer in tow. Montana side of Sweetgrass and I'm headed home. Trophy buckles and whiskey bottles and a worn out saddle horn. Bareback riders and team ropers a husking tater corn. Well, the roads get better every time I cross north of 49. I tip my hat and it's good to be back across the medicine line. Hurting Alberta with nothing more to lose. Too much oil money, not enough booze. East of the Rockies and west of the rest, I do my best to do my damnedest, and that's just about all I guess.
Yeah, breaker 19, you got your ears on. Just finishing a run out to the left coast, Cloverdale, Williams Lake, and Falkland. It's good weather up on the Coke. Had my eyes peeled for Bambi the whole time. Antler Alley. I'm just past Revelstoke now, climbing the Rogers Pass. Second snow shed, following a couple
Yep, she's pretty flat. And Lord knows I'm a prairie boy, so I'm pretty used to that. But farmers facing off with gophers, man, it ain't the same as being home at the Saddle Dome for the Oilers at the Flames. Well, the roads get better every time I cross that Saskatchewan line. And I tip my hat, and it's good to be back on Mountain Standard Time. Hurtin' Albertan with nothing more to lose. Too much oil money, never enough booze. East of the Rockies and west of the rest. Do my best to do my damnedest, and that's just about all I guess.
Yeah, driver, you got your flappers on. Let's get off this trucker channel and dig her on down to two. You see that bulldog bobtail in the freight burner? Just about blew my doors off going by. Better watch for Smokey on four legs, the Royal Mounted Police. That picture taker's gonna send them an invitation right away. Keep the shiny side up. Goodbye, turkey. So long.
Well, that might not get as much airplay in Saskatchewan as it does in Alberta, but Tim and Corb say they know a lot of folks in that province, and they are known for their sense of humor. In 2011, Billy and I loaded up Cody and Lucky, and we drove out to Curtis Anderson's Courage Canada trail ride, and that's where I got to ride alongside of Peter Berg. Peter, you were telling me about when you went up to that north country north of Chetwynd. What year was that?
Yeah, 202 and 203. 202 we were dried out, and then we moved up to Chetwynd, BC. This guy bought a ranch out there, and he needed someone to take care of the cattle, so I moved up there in 202 and took my cow herd, and then we were running 1,100 pairs up there at that time. And it would be nice because you would never go. You could ride a little bit in the morning, and you go out after supper. Well, you could ride till midnight. Like it never got dark.
Yeah.
Eh?
Did you ever trail cattle like that time of the day? Real late at night.
Yeah, we would move some. Like the things that we moved in the morning, we'd go back late at night just to make sure they're paired up and in the right pens. But like I say, there was 100,000 acres that was untouched up there, and if they got out, well, you don't know where they were going to end up. But we had a lot. The perimeter had a fence around it, a 5-wire. But there's a lot of moose and that would go through it. Hey, so over the years.
Did you have many handling facilities in there, like sets of corrals and pens and squeeze chute?
There was nothing when we moved there. We started it. It was called the Delry Ranch, and we started
the Delry.
Yeah. And we started and I built the corrals the way I wanted to, me and the hired hands, and we did everything the way we wanted to do up there, so we could have it by ready that fall for some of the cattle that went back home. Yeah. But yeah, there was no corrals at all. And then we had decided to stay that winter, so we had to build all the camp facilities to winter the cows. And then that next spring showed up, and we were calving in March and April. And he had a D8 cat there, and whenever a blizzard would come, we'd have to plow the roads for the feed truck to come in. And that spring, we had to use a D8 cat. There was so much snow and mud, we had to use D8 cat to feed the cattle.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did the feed come from, Dawson Creek?
Yeah, and a lot of it was from just the Unifeed out of Grand Prairie would bring us pellets, but the hay would come from, like some of our place we got the local hay from.
How cold did it get that first winter? What was the coldest you remember?
Oh, it wasn't too bad. It was only about -35. Everybody thinks it was cold, but the winters kept getting warmer. Like this old guy I talked to, he was about 85, and he said all the years he lived there that summer, he said he's never seen it over 21 degrees. Did
you take horses up there with you too from here?
Yeah, I took four of the horses. Some of the mothers that I was riding today was their grandmother and mother. I still have the grandmother at my place I'm riding. And we took the horses. And I don't know what it is with that air, but I'll tell you, it took, I don't know, probably a month before the horses finally, you think you were riding green horses.
Really? Is that right?
It was, you think there were 10-year-old horses that I was riding, they would take off.
And they finally kind of settled down?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Time fall rolled around, you got all them days in, and like, you start taking care of 1,100 pairs and treating and stuff. They were well broken in.
And next, you'll hear from Peter's wife, Colleen, and the details on who bought the bull and how much money was raised when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. When Peter Berg was 15, he quit school, told his folks he wasn't going back. He wanted to be a rancher. He managed to borrow enough money to buy a few cows and that was the start of the herd he built up over the years. A few weeks ago, he had a big dispersal sale and donated the sale proceeds from one of his bulls to Curtis Anderson's Courage Canada trail ride for brain injury awareness. And when I called Peter to talk about it, he said I should call his wife, Colleen, and talk to her. So I did.
We have an entirely home-raised herd that we dispersed that day. And nice quiet fellow amongst his other brothers, that they're all quiet and such. But I had kind of watched over them, a little pen of 6 homegrown bulls, and he was probably one of the quietest and friendliest, and I was kind of sad to see him go, but I'm glad that his proceeds went towards our neighbor, Curtis, and his Courage Canada ride.
How old was the bull?
He would have been just over a year, I guess, yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah, just ready to go to work.
Yeah.
So how long ago and what made you folks decide that it was time to do a dispersal? I mean, you built that herd up over a lot of years.
Yes. Well, my husband, of course, he was born and raised out here on the farm, and I married into it 20 years ago, so he's done a 40 years excursion with the animals and 20 years for me, but of course that means we put on some years, eh?
Well, that happens, yeah.
And he had an accident while he was working on his off-farm job about a year and a half ago, a leg injury that, you know, if he'd have broken the leg, it would have probably been better, because then you can kind of patch it up and heal it, but it was a lot of muscle ripping and tendons, and he's not quite right. And then I've developed a back injury that I feel really embarrassed about, because I've always boasted that I don't never have problems with my back. So, yeah, we had just all these reminders with our limbs that we just can't run around, you know, raising 200 head of cattle plus.
Oh, man, that is so physically demanding. Gosh.
Yeah, and every calving season you just get reminded of how much less you can't do.
That's for sure. And you know, you're either packing calves, or you're moving bales, or you're cleaning out pens, or you're running around swinging gates, or moving. There's so much that is so physical with that, for sure.
Yeah.
So are they all gone, or did you keep any?
We did keep our bred heifers, so we are going to be calving out a few, just less than 30 head there, and then we kept just a few replacement heifers from last year's crop.
Oh, yeah.
Just a really young group that we can manage right here at home. We don't have to be shipping out to pasture during the summer and things like that. So.
And that bull, I think, brought about $2,250, and it went to Tom Isaac. And I'll get back to Colleen after we gather the bunch, sort off a few cows, build the fire, heat up the irons. Here's Bren Hill.
Wintertime is long on the mountain. Snow flies for 9 long months a year. When the warm south wind blows, every cowboy knows spring around up time is finally here. So call the boys at the Big A-double-L. Call Mike and Jeff and Jason and the crew. And come the break of dawn, we'll be saddled up and gone. 600 head for the day's through. 'Cause there's nothing like the Wasatch in the springtime. Nothing like the freedom in the air. And there ain't nothing better than dragging calves to the fire. And there's nothing like the smell of burning hair. Pass by like the wind, and the boys have loaded up and they're heading home.
come this time next year, you can bet they'll be right here until the cattle and the West are dead and gone. 'Cause there's nothing like the Wasatch in the springtime, nothing like the freedom in the air. And there ain't nothing better than dragging calves to the fire, and there's nothing like the smell of burning hair. No, there's nothing like the smell of burning hair. Nothing like the Wasatch in the springtime.
I'd rather go to a branding and heel calves than go fishing. Well, both Colleen and Peter Berg worked off the ranch for many years, and Peter is still hauling cattle.
When he was trucking, you had to handle a lot of it when he was gone.
I did, yes. Yeah, and a lot of choring in the night hours. You know, you work off farm too, and you come home and you feed, and you just get into a routine. But yeah, I guess it wears you down after a few years. You don't realize it until the body still, or really does speak up.
Yeah, you know, we've gone through that, and we've got so many friends and neighbors we've seen go through that same thing, and by about 2/3 of the way through calving, with the storms and the mud and the scours and the odd backward one and the ones you lose, they're saying, this is it. This is the last year. And these cows are going this fall. We're not doing this again. But by the time fall comes and you see those 600-700 pound calves and you take them to the sale and the buyers like them, you say, well, we'll do it one more year. That seems to stretch out for, us too.
That was us then, yeah. No, we just started this process of thinking that way a good 2, maybe 3 years ago. And, you know, the family around us would say, well, when he's going to start this downsizing, I still don't see any less numbers out here, but...
Yeah. I got
to get used to that now.
A long-time neighbor out here that we've worked with and ridden with and everything for probably 40 years, and I think he dispersed and rebuilt 3 times. You know, he got rid of everything, and then he missed them so much he'd go out and buy another herd and start in again and get rid of those, and then he'd miss them after a couple of years. But he's well up in his 80s now, and he hasn't had any for about 2 years now, and he's actually kind of enjoying the spring a lot more.
Oh, he finally got himself weaned, eh?
Yeah, he finally did. So I just, boy, the condition this guy is in, he's, like I say, in his mid-80s, and now he's logging, and he spends about 8 hours a day running a chainsaw on the landing. So I don't know how he does it. No. So how's your back doing? Is it...
It's kind of flaring up here for some reason the last few days.
What caused the injury?
Well, I thought it was just chopping or hauling chalk pails, you know, for the last 20 years, and kind of threw out the alignment of my... So I've gone through physio for about 1.5 years, and I would have thought it would have been some improvement by now, but I mean, I didn't trigger anything, and now it's just starting to click.
Oh, man.
You know how you can just feel things clicking back there? I don't know. I've never had this before. It's just, like I say, I've just been too proud.
Yeah, I know how that is. Yeah.
Well, Baxter Black is next with a vivid description of what can happen when you're driving through the calving grounds and come upon a pretty aggressive mama cow, when the Spirit of the West continues right after this.
Howdy, friends. This is Baxter Black on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan, and I'll be right back after this with a little peek at the cow attack. Well, friends, thanks for listening. It'll be no surprise that I've published a beautiful new hardback book called A Commotion in Rhyme. It fits in the bunkhouse, the outhouse, the bookstore, the library, or the cookbook. Unfortunately, it won't fit in a cupcake. A commotion? Oh. Call 800-654-2550 or baxterblack.com. Come to think of it, it might fit in a Caesar salad. What happened to your pickup seat? Is that buffalo track? Well, I guess you had to be there. We had a cow attack. It all began when me and Roy went out to check the cows. We'd finished lunch and watched our soap and forced ourselves to rouse. We was poking through the heavy bunch for calves to tag and check. I spotted one, but his old mom was bowing up her neck. She pawed the ground and swung her head a slinging froth and spit and then bellered like a wounded bull. "Say, Roy," I says, "let's quit." But Roy was bent on tagging him and thought to make a grab. "Just drive up there beside the calf. I'll pull him in the cab." Oh, great. Another stroke of genius, of cowboy daring do. Sure enough, when Roy nabbed the calf, his mama came in too. And I do mean climbed up in there, got a foot behind the seat, punched a horn right through the windshield, and she wasn't very neat. She was blowing stuff out both ends till the cab was slick and green. It was on the floor and on the roof and on the calf vaccine. If you've been inside a dryer at the local laundromat with a bear and 50 horseshoes, then you'll notice where I was at. At one point she was sitting up, just going for a ride, but then she tore the gun rack down. The calf went out my side. I was fighting with my door lock that she'd smashed a passing by when she peeked up through the steering wheel and looked me in the eye. We escaped like paratroopers out the window, landed clear, but the cow just kept on driving because the truck was still in gear. She topped a hump and disappeared. The blinker light came on, but if she turned, I just can't say. By then the truck was gone. I looked at Roy. "My truck is wrecked. My coveralls are soaked. I'll probably never hear again. I think my elbow's broke. And look at you. You're pitiful, all crumpled up and stiff, like you've been eaten by wild dogs and pooped over a cliff." "But think about it," Roy said. "Since Grandpa was alive, I believe that's the firstest time I've seen a cattle drive." This is Baxter Black on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan. Thanks for listening.
Nothing gives ranchers more satisfaction than seeing happy, healthy cows and their calves on native grass, because we care for our cattle. More and more producers are using Meloxicam oral suspension to minimize the stress on calves at branding time. Proven results and healthier, happier calves. To find out more, contact your vet and see solvet.ca. Meloxicam, because it's the right thing to do. There's a new way to treat scouring calves now without using antibiotics. Ask your vet about charcoal kaolin oral paste from Solvet. You know, there's something that really resonates when you hear a good cowboy song, well-played fiddles, good guitar, and it's been written and sung by a real working cowboy like Ryan Fritz.
By the time water runs on North Range, by the time eagle cuts the sky, by the time crocus sees sunshine, I will be a long ways from your mind. By the time water runs on North Range, by the time those calves are dropping good, feeling mighty punchy, feeling just the way cowboys should. Nobody asks where I'm going, nobody knows where I've been. By the time the water runs on North Range, I will be where I just can't be found. All winter. Don't you know I ain't saved a dime? By the time water runs on North Range, I will be on nobody's time. By the the time water runs on North Range, by the time a skeeter hits my skin, I'll be shacked in the back of nowhere, thinking of places that I've been. Oh yeah, nobody asks where I'm going. Nobody knows where I've been. By the time water runs on North Range, I will be where I just can't be found. Yes, I will be where I just can't be found.
Now the news of the rangeland, a roundup of news and coming events from around the West.
At the top of page 1, it says, most weather forecasters I know are reluctant to predict more than about 5 days ahead, but agriculture economic forecasters are happy to look ahead 20 years or more. And Gary Crawford is with one right now.
There's one theme running through the USDA's latest 10-year projections for the livestock industry.
Larger cattle, larger hogs, larger chickens.
Larger production of beef, pork, and chicken. USDA analyst David Stallings. For beef, he and his team projecting perhaps a smaller beef cattle herd than we have now, but
we do have increased slaughter weights, which will increase beef production.
By about 9.5% from this year. Steer prices, well, he's talking about an average price this year of almost $120 a hundredweight. In 2028, not even $199.25, a drop of 17%. For pork,
pork production is expected to edge past beef production at just over 30 billion pounds.
About a 9% increase, and in 2028, hog prices might average $44.20 a hundredweight. That's $2.30 higher than what's been forecast for this year, $1.73 less, though, than last year's average price. For broilers,
continued growth in slaughter weights will see an increased production
of about 7.5% compared to this year. Broiler prices 2028, 7 cents lower than what's expected this year. Gary Crawford, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Washington.
I thought we'd share this email with you. It says, hi, Hugh, how is everything doing over in your neck of the woods? The grizzlies are out over here, so spring has finally arrived, I think. Now, would you be so kind as to mention our upcoming 21st Cowgirl Cattle Company Roundup Rendezvous on May the 14th? Takes place at Madden Hall, and we just want to let cowgirls on the ranch and in their heart know all about it. They can order tickets and get more information on our website, cowgirlcattlecompany.com. And you're welcome to join us anytime. Fun time for all. Proceeds go to charity. Thanks so much, Jill. And, of course, that's from Jill Richards of the Devil's Head Ranch, just on the beautiful area west of Calgary and kind of looking at the foothills there. That was really successful last year. Hope it goes well again this year. One of Neil McAllister's bison heifer calves fetched $5,000 for charity during a recent auction raising funds to tackle cancer. It was the first time a bison had been auctioned with the Calves for Cancer campaign, and that's a fundraiser by one of our flagship radio stations, 840 CFCW. And the proceeds are going to the Cross Cancer Institute in Edmonton. And get this, Linda Morrill of Morrill and Morand Equipment had the winning bid of $4,000, but then an anonymous donor kicked in an additional $1,000 to make the total $5,000. Linda and Larry, of course, been great participants on many of our Spirit of the West cruises, and we have that beautiful Morand Industries ranch gate at the end of our driveway. You can see it on our website. An Oregon rancher, Ted Birdseye, has lost 5 cows, a calf, and a dog to wolves. To protect his remaining animals, he's come up with a unique idea. He's employed a lime green inflatable dancer. You know, the kind you see on used car lots. When the wind gets in there, they wave their arms all over the place. The inflatable dancer, along with a generator, were donated by the Defenders of Wildlife. And the early results have been promising, although the rancher isn't quite sure how effective it'll be over the long term. He had previously tried electric fences, lights, flags, noisemakers, and guard dogs in attempts to protect his livestock. And adding to the story, Frank Dubois, former New Mexico Agriculture Secretary, says, The victimized rancher is put in this position by those inflatable politicians who dance to the tune of the environmentalists. And just so you don't run out of things to worry about, higher diesel prices are on the horizon for Canada and the U.S. in 2019. GasBuddy.com senior petroleum analyst Dan McTeague pointed to an increase in overall demand combined with a slowdown in heavy oil production, the federal carbon tax, and the coming IMO 2020 regulations. Those being, of course, the International Marine Organization's reductions in sulfur content in all marine fuels. And he said people may be upset with the gas price industry increase. They will really be upset with the increase on diesel, which affects the price of just about everything. The next cattle sale at the BC Livestock Kamloops Yards is April 23rd and April 25th in Williams Lake. And April 26th in Kamloops, there's a saddle horse sale at the Kamloops Yards. And then you can see all the details at bclivestock.bc.ca. Meanwhile, at the Innisfail Auction Market, next horse sale is April 27th. Tack starts selling at 9 and horses come through at noon. Pre-sort sales there on Mondays, regular cattle sales every Wednesday. Get all the information at InnisfailAuctionMarket.com. Okay, here comes the final item. This one comes from the notorious Trevor Rupert, well-known working cowboy and horseshoer. And he says he told his wife his wish was to be cremated. So, he says, she made an appointment for next Thursday. And that's the Rangeland News. Coming up in the Urban Saddles and Western Wear horse training file, a listener wants to know how he can avoid being kicked when he carries a flake of hay out to the pasture with about 4 horses in it. Not in the flake of hay, but in the pasture. Well, I would say teach him to respect your space. How? Well, stay tuned. The Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. The Urban Saddles and Western Wear horse training file is coming right up. But first, hope you're interested in this. Here's what a few folks have said about the Spirit of the West cruises.
We had a lot of fun. One of the best cruises I've been on with you.
I've already put my deposit down for the next year's cruise, so sure we'll see you again.
Yeah, it's a good crowd.
I've met excellent people, and I couldn't ask for a better trip. The people were just like family. People look out for each other's, and it's great. It's great experience.
And they're just dedicated to helping you enjoy your holiday. I think that's what I really like about cruising.
That's what makes it so nice, is that there are so many folks that are from the background, the way we were brought up on farms and ranches.
Our 2019 cruise will be something we've wanted to do for a long time. August 29th, we'll fly to Dublin, Ireland. We'll visit an Irish thoroughbred breeding farm, be hosted by the Irish Cattle Breeding Federation. Then we'll sail to some historic and beautiful places, Cork, Belfast, and then Glasgow and Inverness, Scotland. We might even get pictures of Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. And we'll have stops in Paris and London. Get all the information at 1-800-530-0131. And check out our Spirit of the West cruise page at hugh-mclennan.com and our cruise Facebook page. And I just got off the phone from Jim Bell, our longtime cruise director, along with Karen. And Jim says the Dublin Port Company will restrict the number of cruise ships per week to just 2 next year. And there will be what they call zero turnarounds, where passengers start or end their cruise at that port, like we are doing. So luckily, we got it all arranged before this happens. And remember our cruise reunion at Westerner Park in Red Deer, April 25th from 5 till about 8:30 p.m. For more information, give Jim and Karen a call, 1-800-530-0131.
Now it's time for the Horse Training File, brought to you by Irvine Tack and Western Wear, Canada's largest Western store.
Hello, spring. Good riddance, winter. Time to celebrate with some serious shopping at Irvine Tack and Western Wear. City, small town, ranch, or farm. Wherever you're from, Irvine's has something for everyone. All the top names in jeans, shirts, boots, belts, jackets, hats, and much, much more. Check out the latest and suit up for spring Western style, Alberta style. So saddle up and shop till you drop at Irvine's, exit 305 off Highway 2 by Crossfield.
Don't just wear it, live it. Irvine Tack and Western Wear.
I got a call from a listener last week who was out feeding his group of 6 horses, and he says he darn near got kicked in the head by one of his geldings. He told me that every time he walks into the bunch packing an armful of hay, they whirl around and kick at him, and it actually gets kind of scary. Well, the problem here is that the horses have established a pecking order, as they always do, and they have all agreed that the person, the critter doing the feeding, is down near the bottom. There's always a certain element of risk involved in carrying an armload of hay into a group of loose horses, but here's how I let my horses know where I am in this pecking order thing. One at a time, I'll take a horse into a pen by himself. Then I'll put out 2 piles of hay. When he goes to one of them, I'll go over there and claim that pile of hay and insist that he move away. Well, he will go to the other pile of hay, and as soon as he does, I'll go over there and claim it and make him leave again. And once he's yielded to my dominance 2 or 3 times, then I'll let him eat while I stand right next to him. Now, once every horse in this group has been through this pecking order exercise, they'll be less likely to crowd around and push on me, but you've still got to be ready for anything, because they may be kicking at another horse and you could be in the way. For Irvin Saddles and Western Wear, that's the Horse Training File. Boy, one thing our horses really enjoy is that daily feeding of Hoffman's Horse Ration, and it keeps them healthy and looking good. Find out more at hoffmanshorseration.com. There's more from Colleen Berg shortly, and I hear tickets are almost sold out for the Western Spirit Band concert with special guest Ben Crane, Wednesday, April 24th at Withrow Church near Eckville, Alberta. Jim and Mike and I will be sharing lots of laughs and some wonderful live Western music. To find out more, just go to bencrane.com/tickets. T-I-C-K, well, you know how to spell that. And I'll be heading for Penny Bryn Farm, just west of Kersley, BC, that's a little bit south of Quesnel, for a fundraising cowboy concert there to help Lindsay Chung with her marathon ride in Normandy, France, to raise funds and awareness for our wounded warriors. And the date of that is May 11th and 12th. Now here's one of those songs that kind of says it all, from Wyoming cowboy Jesse Ballantyne.
Our ranges are changing, and many might say the day of the cowboy is passing away. The count has been taken, the tally is few, still I rode alongside a good one or two. And there are still places where cowboy's king, a cow horse for riding and a rope made to swing, where men take pride in the tools of the trade, and years in the saddle where a good hand is made. From northern Alberta to old Argentina, through every season's change, he will step in the saddle and ride to the cattle, where a cowboy's home on the range. It's not for glory, he keeps pressing on, trotting a circle ahead of the dawn. He's earning his living and giving his best, and holding the high ground of life in the West. And out on the desert the sun's going down, and the new kid is feeling a long way from town. He showed up dressed up and ready to ride, but a week on the wagon has tempered his pride. Some make it look easy, but a kid has to learn that being a cowboy is something you earn. From northern Alberta to old Argentina, through every season's change, he will step in the saddle and ride to the cattle, where a cowboy's home on the range. He will step in the saddle and ride to the cattle, where a cowboy's home on the range.
Now back to Colleen Berg, and we're talking about the kind of a change in their life with their longtime cow herd dispersed.
Are you keeping your horses, or?
We kind of downsized there too. We have 2 horses that we hope to be riding more. Peter's more of a horse person than I, so I like him to be around if I'm getting on a horse. So.
Right.
Hopefully we have time to do that now.
His legs is okay when he's doing that?
It's hard for him to mount, but he finds a way, but it frustrates him.
I know.
You rode with him, actually.
I did, on Curtis's trail ride, right? Yeah, we had a great time.
We have that horse that he was riding with you. We still have that one, and then a younger one for me, a real
that's
quiet, horse.
Well, that was a while ago. We actually still have the 2 that Billy and I had there.
Oh.
Lucky, my old buckskin mare that Billy was riding, she's probably in her mid-30s now, I would guess, and we don't ride her anymore, but she's sort of the queen of the herd. She gets special treatment, but she's a little bit arthritic, but doing okay. And Cody, who was kind of young and green back at that time, was
great. I remember that.
Pretty much my number 1 horse now. So.
Oh, yeah, that was a while ago, I believe, when you were here.
Yeah.
Are you coming this year?
I don't think we'll be coming there, but we're just hoping that, as it always is, it does a lot to raise awareness for Curtis's project, and it's just a great event for sure.
Yeah. We're just marveling how well he's healed and improved and just gotten stronger and.
Yeah, it's just a terrific inspiration, and we stay in touch, and he is so on top of everything, and of all the details, and it doesn't matter what information you need. If he doesn't have it, he'll get back to you with it, really quickly. And so, so it was talking to him. He said, "Well, Hugh, if I would really appreciate it if you could call Peter and find out." The details on when this bull sells, because we appreciate him doing that so much. So, and Peter passed it on to you, and that was great.
Yes, that's Peter's way.
Well, anyway, Colleen, this is great, and I'm sure we'll get some good stuff out of this that we can drop into the show and hopefully help the trail ride cause a little more.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for calling. It wasn't painful at all.
Oh, good. And good luck with the heifers.
Thank you. We'll be okay.
Okay, take care. Thanks, Colleen.
You too. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
And to register for this year's Courage Canada Trail Ride, you can give Curtis a call at 780-581-4802. 780-581-4802, or email cccanada, that's cccanada @hotmail.ca. And next, this week's classic old Western song and the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight, When the Spirit of the West, continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. This week's classic song in the West goes back a long ways. Now, there is a song with the title, There's a Roundup in the Sky, that I have played here a time or two, and I think sometimes it gets confused with this one. This one, I can't even find out who wrote it. I'm sure somebody did. It's the Jimmy Wakely Trio, and There's a Roundup Ahead for the Cowboys.
There's a roundup ahead for the cowboys, where they're numbered and called one by one, by the range boss on high up in heaven. When the long dreary day is done, roll along, keep moving. There's a better range for you in the sky. There's a roundup ahead for the cowboys, where they'll meet in
by one, by the rainbows on high up in heaven, when the long dreary day is done. Roll along, keep moving, there's a better range for you in the sky. There's a roundup ahead for the cowboys, where they'll meet in the sweet by and by.
Well, that's about as pure acoustic and western as you get. The Jimmy Wakely Trio, Johnny Bond on guitar. And I just love that pure acoustic sound, rhythm guitar, lead guitar, fiddle, and no bass in that. Sorry about that, Mike. Anyway, that's our classic song of the West for this week. Thanks. For the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight, thinking of many ranch wives like Colleen Berg and Billy and so many others, this one from Brian Salmond I thought was a perfect fit. It's called Ode to the Ranch Lady.
While the countryside is stirring from a restful, quiet night, and the smoke swirls from the chimney like the eagle in its flight, the rising sun casts out its rays and heralds a welcome glow. Her busy day got underway about an hour ago. She's got the coffee brewing, flipping hotcakes in the pan, and once the kids are off to school, she's out to help her man. Feed them chickens and gather the eggs, gas up the pickup for sure. Bring out some twine and the grease gun, no end to what she'll endure. She'll rake hay with the tractor till late afternoon, then wobble to go cook a meal. Help the kids with their homework and house clean, just like it was part of the deal. A doctor, a lawyer, a parts girl, and she keeps all the books for the herd. She knows every cow by her color and age, and you'd best not be doubting her word. She loves flowers, those from a garden or growing out there in the wild. So pick her some bluebells, she'll squeal in delight, her spirit as free as a child. She cries at funerals, some weddings, sad movies and stillborn foals, and shoulders the burdens for others as they're striving at reaching their goals. The lady serves counsel for people in need. In politics, she does her part. A wizard at patching an old pair of jeans or mending a soul's broken heart. She's light-hearted, a practical jester at times, and she tells the odd smutty tale, but well knows her lord and her master, that lifelines are delicate and frail. You'll see her a-smiling come winter, down at the cattleman's ball, her hair all done up and stars in her eyes, with a well-wish for one and for all. She's got that same gentle aura that angels possess when they fly. This evening is hers for enjoying, and she asks that all others comply. And when they dim the house lights and the old-time waltz is played, take her on your arm, old son, retrace the miles you've made, and trip the light fantastic. You know she dances fine. And Buckaroo, be proud of yours, and know I'm proud of mine.
Well, thank you again for taking time to ride along, and I sure hope you can join us right here next week at the same time. As always, thanks to the Spirit of the West official support crew, Mark and Kathy McMillan. And remember, if you're looking for tractor parts, any make, any year, Mark can probably help you. Just see his page, bctractorparts.com. And remember, you can subscribe to Canadian Cowboy Country Magazine by calling 1-800-943-7336. Till next week, I'm Hugh McLennan. Hope to see you down the trail somewhere real soon.